It's time for Mastering Your Money with Gary Mastrodonato.
My good friend Zig Ziglar once told me, Gary, people don't really care how much you know until they know how much you care about them.
Every week, Gary brings you up to date in the world of finance and gives you tried and true retirement tips from his office at the Masters Wealth Management Group in Oriental, North Carolina.
It's the decisions you make in life when you have a choice that will determine where you'll be in life when you no longer have a choice.
For 40 years, Gary has passionately served his clients, helping them retire with confidence.
You know, we treat all of our clients the absolute same. There are no minimums here at the Masters Wealth Management Group.
Now, let's put the wind in your financial sails and your success. Here he is, the master, Gary Mastrodonato.
Well, hi, everybody. Gary Mastrodonato, the Mastering Your Money Show. We are rolling in this mid-October 2023. Actually, a little bit beyond that, almost near Halloween time. And the trick-or-treaters will be coming out. I know when I was a young Cub Scout, we'd be coming home from Cub Scout meetings. It'd be about September 30th, October 1st or 2nd, and we'd stop and start doing trick-or-treating on the way home because we wanted candies. And people would say, young men, it's like a month away. I said, well, we thought we were hungry. So they'd bring apples and candy. And anyway, that's a little too early for the trick-or-treaters, but the time is coming. So fall is in the air, but so is a lot of trouble in the air right now. It's a very sad time in the world overall, not only in America, but worldwide. We've got, of course, the Iranian war going on and all the bloodshed there, and Ukraine, and probably some other areas will be breaking out very soon, as well as we have some weak leadership in Washington. And the world leaders taking note of that, of course, on a regular basis and making plans behind the president's back when you've got Putin going in and telling Netanyahu that he can help him with the which has to be a laugh when he calls him the humanitarian buildup back in his country. I mean, that's got to be a laugh on its own. And why he took that call, I have no idea. But nevertheless, the world is in a bad place. Jamie Dimon said it best just a few days ago on a news conference. He said that this is the worst time in his lifetime, that not only is the economy the worst he's ever seen, the world order is the worst, as is the USA reputation the worst he's ever seen. And I think we all agree on that. So we want our country back. We want America back. And that's what we're going to help you do today on the Master Your Money Show. At least we're going to help you protect what you have control over, and that's your money. We don't have to lose any more money. And you better hold on to what you've got. Inflation is not over with. It's coming back. Interest rates continue to rise. The cost of food is rising. Gas, ladies and gentlemen, if Iran gets involved here, be ready to pay $7, $8, $9, $10 a gallon. In the Carolinas, you don't have to go. They're already paying that in California. Carolina gas could be that price in about 3 to 4 months. You mark my words right now. And Jeffrey, you can go back and play this show 3 or 4 months from now, and I can tell you can hear that very word right there. So we got a lot to talk about. We're going to tell you how to keep your money safer, how to protect your money, some things you need to do before year-end tax planning. We just finished the October 15th filing of the extensions, and we're now looking at required minimum distributions, the RMDs, to make sure that they're completed by year end. And also some late-minute tax tips of what to do with your Roth IRA or traditional IRA. If you're thinking about rolling to Roth, is now a good time to do that. The Roth IRA, very popular because it's tax-free, but the Master designed a better way to do a Roth conversion in pieces and slices that bring you a lot more bang for the buck. So don't go too far. The Mastering Your Money Show continues right after our Honor to America. Our men and women, our military, our men and women that keep us safe year-round, our veterans, our police, the people that keep us safe. And I can't honor enough the military right now. The planes are flying out here on a regular basis. It's time to honor our heroes, our men and women, right here locally in Cherry Point, and of course Camp Lejeune and around the world, wherever you might be. We thank you for your service. Let's take a pause to honor our nation's heroes.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
We're back. Gary Donato, the Master of Your Money Show. You know, always a tear in my eye when I hear Lee Greenwood saying, God bless the USA. And boy, it couldn't be a better time to bless the USA. And Heavenly Father, of course, we always end our show with a prayer, but we're going to have a lot of prayer here during the show as well, because we have trouble in River City. The world right now is in trouble big time. We've got wars. We got two specific war zones, and of course, a possible third and fourth one right around the corner. They see our weak leadership, and they realize leaderships may change next year, so they're taking advantage of anything they can right now. And that includes the economy. The economy is going out of whack. Oil prices will be rising, and inflation keeps going up, and there's a lot of trouble in the city. And to help me carry some of the burden here, we have to really turn to my co-host, Mr. Jeff Shade. Jeffrey, I couldn't do it without you, and today specifically, I need you to really carry me a little bit and push me along, because it gets lonely out here looking at what's happening in the world economically and politically right now.
Well, I'm happy to carry you, Gary. You know the old song, he ain't heavy, he's my brother. So you're my brother here on the radio. But you're right, Gary. There's a lot of stuff going on around the world, and particularly in this country, too, not the least of which is volatility. Before we continue with that thought, I certainly want to welcome all of the fine people here in Eastern North Carolina, but especially our friends, the Sunshine State of Florida, in Stewart and Port St. Lucie. Thank you for listening to the Mastering Your Money Show. As you said, Gary, there's a lot of volatility. There are a lot of things to watch out for. And I think really the word of the day would be safety, not only from a personal standpoint, but also from a monetary standpoint. And there's this triple whammy that I've heard about. So I want you to explain to me and explain to our listeners what this triple whammy is and how you can help us keep safe against what the triple whammy has to offer.
Well, the triple whammy is a master term that I made up here, but I'm telling you, it's happening right now. I always kind of use that in the back of my mind. But when you have market losses and you're about to retire and you've got market losses occurring, okay, you've heard me use the term sequence of return risk. That would be an example of what I mean by sequence of return risk. Markets are falling the day you retire or in that area. You got inflation going up. Now, remember, simultaneously, you got inflation rising, markets falling. You're pulling money out of your account right now. And as you're pulling money out, the accounts continue to drop if you're in equities. And that's the situation. So now what happens? We have a situation now where you add a third thing. You got a market falling. You're pulling money out of your account. And then you're in managed money where there's, on top of that, to add insult to injury, there's a management fee coming out of your account as well. When all three combine simultaneously where those lines cross, I call that, Jeffrey, the triple whammy. You're getting hit from all sides. And I don't see how you can stay retired for a very long time without running out of money when that occurs. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, it's a bad time to retire if you're about to retire, unless you're in the master plan. The master plan, in my opinion, is probably the only safe way that I know that you can actually get retirement and at the same time use the little tricks of the trade, including our 20-minute millionaire concept, where we can make you a millionaire in just 20 minutes and convert a lot of your taxable income from your retirement plan into tax-free income better than a Roth IRA. And you say, Gary, how can that be? I'm going to share that with you in just a few minutes, but better than a Roth because you're doing it in pieces. You're not paying Uncle Sam a lot of money to get money into the Roth and then start taking it out immediately. You lose the tax benefit on that because you don't have time to recoup that taxation. But in my plan, if you die, it all becomes tax-free in your retirement plan. We can take your retirement plan equivalent and turn that into tax-free money. If you live, you can't do 2 out of 6 of your daily activities where you become the beneficiary of your own life insurance policy. That becomes tax-free as well when we set it up properly. And now you've got tax-free money that you're using from your retirement plan that people would spend years paying the tax back to convert that to Roth IRAs. A little trick of the trade the master is going to teach you when we sit with you for a 20-minute interview. And we're going to show you how to bypass the triple whammy scenario, because I'm telling you folks, it gets really, really rough out there today. Jamie Dimon, as I said earlier, Jamie Dimon came out just 2 days ago and wrote in the Wall Street Journal as well as on television sound bites. And he said, this is the worst of his memory. And I said this, Jeffrey, probably 6 months or a year ago. This is the worst I've ever seen it in the economy. It's the worst I've ever seen it as an American. And you probably feel the same way. Everybody we talk to who calls in from this radio show, and we're blessed to have all of you out there listening, but everybody you talk to is really saying the same thing. It's the worst we've ever seen in our lifetime. And we're talking to people that have worked 30, 40 years. We're talking to people that have paid the American price of hard work, but also Many of you are veterans and you served in the military, and we thank you for your service always. But I'm telling you, you worked hard as well. Many lifers in the Marines and Army and Air Force and Navy and Coast Guard that spend 30, 40 years of their lifetime, or 20 years at least in their careers. And we thank you. You know, they walk away and shake their head. I mean, they're proud of what they've done. They never complain, but they don't like what they're seeing right now, and that hurts us all. So what can we do to stop this? We got to keep your money safe. That's number one. We got to protect your money. We have to make sure that you have something that's called lifetime income that you can't outlive. And with the master plan, everybody will get the option for lifetime income that you can't outlive. When you think about it, lifetime income, nothing better than that. Lifetime income is like your Social Security check that never stops for the rest of your lifetime and the rest of your spouse's lifetime with no break in income. Our lifetime income plans do not take a dip. Okay, if you die, you don't take a dip. You don't lose one of them. You keep them going. Social Security, ladies and gentlemen, husband, wife, the first one that dies, the surviving spouse has to give up one of the two Social Security incomes. And many times, if there's a survivorship pension plan, which is very rare today, but if there is one, that money stops too or gets severely reduced. Even in 20 years of service in the military, it goes down to 55% of where it was. And husbands out there or spouses, if you're on some kind of disability income with the government, that money stops the minute the disabled person, the disabled veteran, passes on as well. So there's a big drop of income immediately that the spouse, the surviving spouse, has to face for the rest of their life. And 8 times out of 10, it's going to be the female, the woman, that's going to have to pay the burden of the lesser money and living a longer lifestyle. You know, Jeffrey, 82% of men die today married, which means then that 82% of women die as widows, unmarried, because when the husband passes, most of them don't remarry in the older ages. Some of them do, but some don't. So nevertheless, we have to protect the spouse that survives the spouse that passes on, because there's a reduction in income immediately. Social Security, pension, disability benefits, other ancillary income benefits, those disappear. And you still have to make life go on living. You still have medical bills to pay. And you might have drained your retirement plan already to get the first spouse through an Alzheimer's or through a very bad illness along the way. And people are getting sick all the time today. It's kind of nasty and sad. Cancer's creeping up on everybody again. One of my good friends, Heather, just announced to me a couple days ago that her father was just diagnosed with type 4 pancreatic cancer. And that's kind of a death sentence pretty quickly right there. Not good. So nevertheless, the number to call, 252-249-0100. Let's make sure that you're protected no matter what happens. We can control that part. We can't control what's happening in Ukraine. We can't control what's happening in Israel. We can't keep the Chinese from going into Taiwan if they elect to do that. We can't keep the Iranians out of the oil gushers and raising our oil prices. They're involved in this 100%. Make no worries about that. And they're taking hostages from us, and they want $1 billion to $2 billion per person back now because we've already paid ransom, and now they want more money. They're not foolish, and that's where they're getting this money to run this thing in the first place. So let's keep your money safe. We can control that. Let's control what we can control. And the master could do it immediately. A quick phone call, 252-249-0100. Spend 20 minutes with us on the telephone. We can change your life. And in 20 minutes, if you're healthy and you got the right amount of money in your pension plan or your 401k and you're old enough to do this, over 59 and a half, even though you're still working, we can make you a millionaire in 20 minutes. 20-minute millionaire from the master. Give us a call right now at 252-249-0100. That's 252-249-0100. Jeffrey, the first 10 callers today get a copy of the master's notes on the 20-minute millionaire because it's being written right now. You get my notes. You get my book notes that are going out to the publisher, and we're tossing in a copy of Ed Slott's new retirement savings time bomb. Ed Slott, the nation's IRA gurus, and one of my coaches, has written his updated book, The New Retirement Savings Time Bomb, and I'm telling you, it's a must-have in your compendium. 252-249-0100. We will help you to help yourself to keep your money safe. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to get right into some housekeeping with Medicare and Medicaid. Remember, it's open enrollment season right now, October 15th to December 7th. What does that mean to you? Social Security recipients are getting a raise coming January 1st. How much is that going to be? And what else is going on in Social Security? I know, Jeffrey, you mentioned that they raised the price of the Medicare Part B premium
Right.
as a minimum, and there's the deductibles for Plan G on the supplements are going up. Lots of increases. They want our money, and we got less money to live on because of inflation. We're going to tell you how to weave through this. It's a nasty thing out there, but we're going to help you out. Masters Wealth Management Group. Hey, we've been in business 42 years. We've been on financial radio 40 of those years. Don't go away. You want experience? You want the best in the business, and you want 11 of the best U.S. coaches that money can buy? Right here on the Master Your Money Show. We'll be right back to share more of our program with you. Don't go away.
Hi, I'm Jackson Master Donato. Please listen to my grandpa. I'm the Master in Your Money Show.
We're back. Gary Master Donato, the Master in Your Money program. A very busy show today on a very busy October day, 2023. Getting ready for Halloween. The trick-or-treaters are beginning to costume up and line up here. I see lots of kids around the neighborhood now coming through with different masks and looks and makeup. And I said, it's not quite Halloween yet, boys and ladies. Well, we're just practicing, sir, Mr. G. They call me Mr. G here. That's cool. They're practicing. Well, let them practice up. We still got some great kids out here.
Yeah.
And when they come by the neighborhood, we'll take care of them.
Little Bidens and little Trumps out there dressed up in their little masks and so forth. And
yeah. We give them all a little Bitcoin coin.
We drop a Bitcoin in your basket there, son.
In the basket. And Ferrari now taking Bitcoin. So the master cleaning out the bottom line of the coffee can to see if we can get enough for that Ferrari this week. A little short still. A little short on the Ferrari money. But nevertheless, 252-249-0100, the number to call, the Master in Your Money program. Hey, we've been in business 42 years. What does that mean to you when you call us? Well, number one, it means we have a lot of experience, and experience in this game counts big time, especially right now. If you're going to the war zone, you want to go with a general that's going to lead you, a successful person that can lead you through the war game. And this is a war game economically. This is the war game that we fight every day to keep your money safe, folks, because we can't lose this game. This game is your only game left, and you don't want to retire and get into what we call the triple whammy. We talked about that a moment ago. But the triple whammy is where you get a market loss the day you retire. Market's coming down. You're pulling money out for retirement income. You have inflation. And then to add insult to injury, on top of all of that, you got the management fee to run your account lower each pay period. You don't want to do that. That's called the triple whammy. You can run out of money very, very fast that way. Sequence of returns risk is a dangerous risk. You're not going to understand it unless you're a mathematician, but I'm telling you, the day you retire and the market falls 2, 3, 4 years in a row, or doesn't do much like it has the last 2 or 3 years, where it's about even or a little bit below, and you're pulling money out at an inflationary time, you will run out of money in 10 to 15 years sooner than you thought you would. You don't have the sustainability to let it run for the rest of your life. We can help you change that right now. 2 ways. We're going to keep your money safer, number one, build you a lifetime income that you cannot outlive, guaranteed lifetime income that can grow with inflation. And thirdly, reduce your taxes, because we can reduce your taxes through strategies that we utilize. Taxes and healthcare are the 2 biggest costs in retirement. And then, of course, we always have a plan for long-term care. My mantra, when you listen to me for 42 years, you're going to hear this on every show. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't have a retirement plan in writing that includes long-term care, you don't have a retirement plan, period. And that's what you got to get. If you learn nothing more from today, if you don't have a retirement plan in writing that includes a plan for long-term care, you don't have a retirement plan, period. And I will share with you in a few minutes my plan for long-term care in writing and exactly how it works and how you too can have the plan that the master uses. And think about it. I've been around 42 years, and we have 12 of the smartest coaches, I think, in America that money can buy. We have tax coaches, people like Ed Slott, Denise Appleby, Tom Wheelwright, one of the top tax advisors in the U.S., not only in the U.S., worldwide. He travels worldwide with Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and they've been on this radio show a few times. And I tell you, we know what they're doing and what they're using out there. And we use the same principles here at the Masters Wealth Management Group, the Masters Plan. In our master plan, we have the 20-minute millionaire plan. We can make you a millionaire in 20 minutes. They go, Gary, how can you do that's a lot of BS. It's not. I made one person a millionaire this past week because I was busy on some personal things. I had to go to Raleigh a couple of times for business stuff, and I was out of town. But I made one person a millionaire this past week, two the week before, and I think one the very first or last week of September, first week in October. And we're making more along the way. So we made 4 millionaires that weren't millionaires before in the last month or so. That's a pretty good track record. We'd like to help you to be a millionaire as well. So the number to call, 252-249-0100. How do you do that, Gary? How do you make somebody a millionaire? We're going to talk about that in a minute. We got some other things right now just to keep you on the edge there a little bit. And we had some changes announced in this past week or so for a Social Security increase coming up starting January 1st. What is that number, Jeffrey? Tell the audience.
Well, the COLA increase that we get this year, the cost of living adjustment, is 3.2%. They announced this just last week. Last year, of course, it was 8.7%. We expected it to be around 3%, so 3.2 is what we settled on that being. So that's how much more you're going to get in your Social Security in 2024. I don't know if it actually keeps up with inflation, but that's the best that they could do. You were also alluding to, I believe, Medicare, and there were some changes there. Your Medicare Part B premiums have increased a bit. Of course, this past year, we were paying around $164, somewhere around in there, for our Medicare Part B premium, and that is going up to $174.70. Unless you make greater than $103,000 or less than $129,000, then that premium goes up to $244, and then over $129 but less than $161, it'll be $349.40. So we get a cost of living increase, but we're paying more on the other side for the Medicare.
Yeah, is that the top one now, $329 a month or something?
Well, $349.40 if you make more than $129 but less than $161. If you make greater than $161, less than $193, it's $454 a month. Greater than $193, less than $500,000 a year. If you're making that, it's $559 for your Medicare Part B, and then greater than or equal to $500,000, your top Medicare Part B premium would be $594. I think most of our listeners are going to be somewhere in that $174.70 to $244.60 range.
Yeah, somewhere in that big range there. But we got a lot of clients that are in the high number there that I realized was as high as $594.
Yep.
I better check my pay stub on that.
Sure, you better check it out.
See where that money's going.
Well, that's your Part B premium, so
no, I know what that is.
That would come out of your Social Security unless you're not taking Social Security yet, at which point they would bill you for that.
Well, I'm way too young for that yet, Jeffrey.
I know, you're just a young man.
I'm just a young boy.
You're a young whippersnapper. You're just a kid.
42 years in business. I must have started there when I was in my teens, figure.
I think you started as a grade schooler, actually.
Well, we started radio early on in high school, actually. I was spinning records. Yes, sir. In my senior year, I was Jerry Jack on WSA. Come on.
Hey, Jerry Jack with you.
WSAY radio in the afternoon drive on the
what if
weekends.
you were on a different day part? Did you have a different name?
Yes, morning was Tommy Thomas, Jerry Jack, and Mike Melody in the evening. Mike Melody.
Melody with you.
Tommy Thomas was your morning guy. Jerry Jack was the afternoon run, and then Mike Melody was your closeout guy, all the way to midnight. I've locked up many times at the station. In the middle of nowhere was a little house that was falling down. That was our studio.
Yeah.
WSAY radio,
right.
1480, I think, in AM in the old days. Man, you got to start somewhere.
Those were the old days, man. People had names. Sandy Beach was one. The program director is named Chuck Roast, something like that. I mean, that's the only business radio where people have names like that. Can you imagine if the president of Microsoft was, something like Chuck Roast or whatever?
Or Bill Gates.
Bill Gates, yes.
Come on. How about Starbucks?
Starbucks is a good one, too. Yeah, Patty O Furniture.
Yeah, she's a great gal, Starbucks out of L.A. Yep.
Yeah, well, anyway, those were fun times. I think you made the right move, though, getting out of that business and going to financial services.
Well, I blended the two together very successfully. You did. Back 40 years ago. We always tell the story, but the guy said when I approached the head guy at the station, the big station, Wham Radio in Rochester, 1180 AM, 50,000 powerful watts at the time. They picked us up all over Rochester. We did a seminar. We used to do our seminars back then in my early days in the industry. We did seminars, and we held them at the local planetarium in Rochester, New York on East Avenue. And we would have, just from the radio, we didn't send any invites out or anything, just broadcasting on the radio on the station with 50,000 powerful watts, we'd have anywhere from 150 to 200 people per month at our seminars, unsolicited other than on the radio station. And we had our buddy Dave from the bagel shop down below in our office on East and State Street in Rochester. He would cater it, and we gave him all the free chatter there for that trade-off. And we had a great business, and we had great people coming through the door, and we just had a good time in those days. And then, time goes on and things change a little bit, but along the way you get savvy and you learn a lot. So when you're in the business for 42 years, you learn an awful lot from experience. And now people say, what's an average day for you, Gary? An average day is I'll talk to 6 or 8 clients a day, or people that call from the radio show that are interested in becoming a client. So we have about 6 to 8 conversations a day, sometimes at least 5 days a week, sometimes going into 6 days a week. Think about it. If we're talking to 35, 40 people a week, and then we do a couple of radio shows a week and some other things and programs and seminars and guests on other shows around the country. We are busy in this industry, and we know a lot about a lot of things. And pepper that in with 11 of the best coaches in the USA. So when you call the master, you get an experienced individual. And when you call my office, you don't get one of my junior guys or junior ladies. You get the master. When we talk your portfolio, you're not getting one of my subordinates. You're getting the master. The master comes in and looks at it and does it all, and then turns it over to the help in the office, and they kind of finish up the paperwork and all that stuff. But we design the plan, and that's the important thing for you to remember. We know what things are happening in your lifetime. See, we specialize, Jeffrey, in retirement distribution, totally different than retirement accumulation. Retirement accumulation is when you're working in your company. Day to day, you're putting money into your 401k. You may have a company match. You're getting some other funds in. You might set up an IRA or a Roth IRA, and we'll talk about that in a moment. You might set up you might have a little pension plan at work. If you're self-employed or have a small company, you might want to have a little plan for your employees. So all these things we put together and structure for you. With the goal in mind is to keep your money safer, to reduce your taxation when we can through strategies in the tax law, and to keep everything going smooth for you so that you can retire very, very happily. And at the same time, if you don't make it to retirement, if you die too soon, we don't want to keep your children and your wife in the cold. We want to make sure there's enough money to supply them with income. One of my big worries today is a lot of the younger people that have 2, 3, 4 children. And I see them all, the workmen out here at River Dunes where I live. I see them coming through all the time, and they got 2 or 3 kids at the little parties they have out here. And I pull them aside and I go, Johnny, do you have life insurance? Not yet. I'm thinking about it. Well, they got 3 kids, 3 little kids. What do you do if the husband dies, if the breadwinner dies, the mother's watching the kids full time? What do you do if something happens, God forbid, to the father? How do we support those children at 3, 4, or 5 years old? You got a lot of money to put out. It takes a lot of money to get them from age 3 or 4 or 5 all the way to 21 and through college. I mean, come on. A swing of the bat with life insurance and term insurance. We did some term this week, Jeffrey, and I'm bringing this up because we never talk about it enough. But term insurance on a 31-year-old and a 35-year-old for $2 million a term was about $800 a year in premium. Think about that. $2 million a term, $800 a year in premium. That's nothing. Think about it. You spend more than that on a couple lottery tickets and a little football betting on the weekends with fantasy football these guys are doing. So $800 for $2 million, you die, the spouse gets $2 million tax-free, but then we manage it for you, and we have to pepper out an X amount of dollars to keep the kids in the fashion that you'd want to keep them in their own home, or maybe get them a home. Maybe they don't have a home right now. I sat down with somebody once that had $1 million of death benefit, and they came in to see me, and they said, well, thank you for setting this up now. What I want to do is, I talked to my mom and dad this past month or so, and we want to buy a house. I want to bring mom and dad into it. We want to buy a big house, and then we want to furnish the house. Then we all want this kind of car. We need a station wagon for the kids and all this. And I go, excuse me, you only got $1 million. $1 million doesn't go that far today. $1 million actually, when interest rates were at 2 or 3% when this conversation took place, $1 million at 3% is $30,000 a year of income without getting into principal. That's not a lot of money. $30,000 a year of income is almost poverty level when you got 3 kids. So you need to have the cash ready, and you got to be able to spread that out and spend it wisely. Most people don't know how to spend the money they've got. And when they get retired, they don't know which money to spend first. That's where we help you out as well. Retirement distribution, it's a different game than retirement accumulation. early death for a spouse is the same as retirement distribution. We got to spread that money out over your lifetime. We don't know how the kids are going to do. And when you retire at 65 or 66, you and the wife, one of my questions are, the questions change. Mr. and Mrs. Jones, how long are you both going to live? Well, we don't know that, Gary. How's your health? Well, I'm doing okay. The wife's got some early onset Alzheimer's. Bless her heart. We have a client that has Parkinson's. She's a real sweetheart, and she goes to the gym every single day to keep moving, to keep her mind sharp, and she's doing really well. And we're so proud of her. And, there's a lot of people like that in our client zone, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, early onset. They are deal breakers for longevity. You could live 20 years with it, but the cost of getting the 20 years under your belt could be millions of dollars because the stay-at-home spouse may not be able to take care of mama if it happens to be with mama. Or maybe dad gets ill along the way, and now we got to bring people in from the outside. The old days, my mom, when my dad got sick, took care of my dad. Today, I don't have a spouse, but today I'm not sure who would do that. I can't count on my 3 boys. The 3 boys are on the West Coast, and I'm here. Number one. Number two, even if they were next door, I wouldn't want to count on them because you don't know, you wouldn't know what they'd be doing if they'd be even saying hi to you, Jeffrey. So you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
So you got to make the plans in place. We've got strategies today that we didn't have even 5 years ago. The plan that I have for long-term care, we didn't have that 5 years ago. Think about this. I didn't plan on getting into this right this moment, but let's do it as we follow along. Number to call, by the way, 252-249-0100. If I'm saying anything that sparks an interest in you right now, take that number down, 252-249-0100, or call it right now if you can. We have operators on duty 24/7, so you can call it right now. You can call after the show. You can call on Tuesday or Wednesday morning. You can call at 4 in the morning on Sunday night. We've had calls in the middle of the night. People working all night, and today I'm going to call this guy right now. He said, we got operators on duty. Let's see if they're really there. Well, they're there. They're there working, and they answer Master's Wealth. And you always get a live person when you call the office, which is really cool. But nevertheless, here you are, trucking along in life, trying to make ends meet, trying to love your family, take care of your family. All these outside extremities come through: inflation, rising prices, people getting laid off, wages changing. This is not healthy for America. We got to have our country back. We want America back the way it used to be, where we don't even have to worry about going into the street and carry a gun. I talked to a guy the other day on the telephone, one of our radio show callers, on my way to Raleigh, and he said, what kind of gun do you carry in your glove box? I said, I don't carry a gun in my glove box. He goes, you got to be kidding me. He said, I've got a gun in every car I've got. It's got guns in there. I said, well, he said, you got to have a gun to protect yourself. That's the society we're in today. Do we have to be like that? I mean, let's take a stand and let's take a change and let's stand up for America again. These stores in San Francisco, where my sons live, and other parts of the country, in Chicago and LA and all the big cities, they stop, they unload busloads full of people. They go in and grab and stash, whatever they call it. And with crowbars, they break the glasses of jewelry stores and they grab all the stuff and then leave on a bus. They block off the road so the police can't get into them and catch up with them. And in California, you can steal $999 worth of stuff and they can't arrest you.
That's amazing.
And they actually have the audacity to tell the manager of the store on their way out, we'll see you tomorrow night about 3 a.m., sir. Hope you're here. We can say hi. We're in a different time frame, but all you can do is take care of yourself and take care of your family and put your family first. Put God first. Keep your family first. Keep the focus on what makes a good American today, and let's get our country back the way it should be. Jeffrey, we're going to take a call to action right now. The next 10 callers that call, we're going to give a 20-minute complimentary one-on-one telephone call with the master. No charge ever, by the way. No fees, no charge. Don't worry about the cost. We handle that. 20 minutes, the first 10 callers, 252-249-0100. We will go through the master plan with you and how we can help you. I can guarantee you, I have never spoken to anybody in 40 years on the air that we can't help with our knowledge and our experience. We can help everybody. I've never met anybody that we can't help. If your health is not good, we have a plan. If your health is great, we have a plan. If you don't have any money, we have a plan. If you got a lot of money, we have a plan. If your taxes are too high, we got a plan. If you don't pay any taxes, it's better yet, we got another plan. But nevertheless, there's a plan to help you to make a little bit better change in what you're doing. First 10 callers today, 252-249-0100. That's our call to action from my heart to yours from my home to yours, and I'm welcoming you to join the Masters Wealth Management Club at 252-249-0100. And Jeffrey, we're also going to give away a copy of my new book that I'm writing, 20-Minute Millionaire, because we can take you, if you're healthy and you have a little money in your retirement plan, and you're healthy, can pass the insurance exams that you need. And they're not difficult exams. Just make sure that you're not in a terminal illness state. And if you are, we have another plan for you. So not to worry. But 252-249-0100, we can make you a millionaire in 20 minutes if you let me show you how. You'd be surprised. And people are unbelievable when they leave the office, but they're actually millionaires when they walk out the door. So that's a pretty cool thing. 252-249-0100, and we'll help you with your taxes as well. End of year stuff coming up. We got Medicare Part B. We got open enrollment from October 15th to December 7th. And, you know, Jeffrey, we never talk about this enough, but because it's Medicare season, we have available for our clients always year round, we sell the Medicare supplements. And the main supplement that we sell is, of course, Plan G. I think the deductible to Plan G for 2024 is going up to around $260, I believe you said?
Yeah, Gary, the annual deductible in 2024 is going to be $240.
$240. Okay, so that's gone up a little bit from 2023, and it's Plan G. Remember Plan G for Gary? The master plan, Plan G. Everything that revolves around the master's plan. Come on, man.
That's right.
Plan G. We offer them, and what we do that's really cool that people like is we shop the country. The government's already made it mandatory that every Plan G in America is the same benefit, the same workings, and the same mechanics of every Plan G. The only thing that differs is the premium. So you can buy Plan G, for example, from Blue Cross Blue Shield, and you might pay $195 a month. You can buy Plan G from Humana, you might pay $162 a month. You can buy Plan G from the Masters Wealth in our Plan G plan that's underwritten by two big insurance companies. We're averaging about $95 to $102 a month, depending on your zip code. Big savings, same benefit. So, and remember, that money comes out of your Social Security check to pay the premium once you're collecting Social Security. If you don't turn it on yet, you're paying a monthly premium out of your checking account, most likely. So the number to call, 252-249-0100. We'll give you the entire overhaul. Plus, you'll have a lifetime income plan, the master plan for retirement, the master plan for long-term care. We make sure that when you're done, you have been checked by the master and blessed by the master, for lack of a better term, because you've been blessed with the opportunity to have all your affairs in order financially. The only thing we don't do is we don't draw wills because we're not attorneys, and we'll find you a good CPA for taxes, and the rest is automatic. 252-249-0100. Take a short break. We come back. We're going to close out the show. I'm going to talk to you about the master plan and the plan for long-term care that the master uses. That is one of the most important aspects of any retirement plan today, long-term care. If you don't have it, you don't have a plan for retirement. And ladies and gentlemen, listen closely. It's the reason that people run out of money today. Longevity risk, living too long, and dying too soon as well can wreck a family at the same time. 252-249-0100. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Everything you do to me, honey, that's money. Money, 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 money. Money, 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 money.
We're back. Gary Master Donato, the Master Your Money Show, late October 2023. Halloween not too far away. And Jeffrey, do you have a plan for your Halloween treats this year? What are you going to be giving away? And will you be dressed at the door when they come? In costume.
Well, I will be dressed, yes. I think otherwise would be just slightly illegal greeting the children. But I'm going to dress up as Jerome Powell and see how many of the kids can figure out who this guy with the glasses is that wants to raise the interest rate. But we always have a bunch of candy, and we always overplan. The kids, they don't come as they used to, and then I end up eating all of the candy. So it's really a win-win for the kids, and it's a win-win for me.
Well, why don't you do this if you want to teach them inflation? Why don't you hand them a Hershey bar?
There you go.
When I was a kid trick-or-treating, the Hershey bar was kind of like the hallmark moment of the home. We would go back to the same home that passed out the Hershey bar about 6 times in different... we would trade masks, trade jackets, trade costumes, whatever we had to do. And they've kind of figured it out after a while, but you got those Hershey bars. So what you do this year to teach the kids inflation is you hand them the Hershey bar, then you cut it in half. You break it in half and only give them half. because it's inflation, kids. Okay? It's only half the chewing power you had a year ago or 2 years ago. So there you go. Tell your mom that you only got a half a bar because of inflation, and ask mom and dad to share with you their story on inflation.
Yeah.
And inflation, ladies and gentlemen, can rip the heart out of a retirement plan. Absolutely heart out. Think about it this way. The cost of mailing a postage stamp 20 years ago, I'm assuming it's what, 59 cents today, 60 cents?
Yeah, I was by the Forevers. I know it's a lot of money, but I remember when they had George Washington on them, and they were 5 cents when I was a kid.
Yeah, well, that's inflation. But, 20 years ago, the inflationary cost of a stamp was, I think, 22 cents, and now it's close to 60
Yep, something like that.
cents. Okay, so it's more than doubled. And imagine your paycheck that's coming in from your pension or your income plan, and especially if you lose money in the plan up front due to inflationary sides or market loss or compounding from other situations like that, it becomes nasty because you don't have enough money to live on, and that's the problem. And that's why you need the master plan. The master plan provides money when you need it most, when you get sick or ill, if you need assistance to come in to help take care of you or mama, your wife. You got to have a plan that will cover and give you cash up front on a tax-free basis. But imagine this at the same time. If your plan can actually come to you tax-free, and let me use an example. We have a lot of clients that come in with $1 million in their retirement plan, in their IRA plans or their 401k. We roll them into an IRA, and now they're very proud they got $1 million in the IRA, and they're happy about it. But here's the problem with $1 million in the IRA. None of that money's been taxed yet, unless they converted a piece of that into what's known as the Roth IRA. The Roth IRA means it's tax-free money when you pull it out. You have to pay the tax to put it in, but tax-free when you pull it out. So keep that in the back of your mind for just a moment. You got $1 million in the account. Say that the master comes along, me, and we sit down, and I can provide for you, if you're in good health, $1 million worth of our special life insurance that will pay you $1 million of tax-free income. Not only income, but lump sum tax-free. They'll pay it out over a 4-year period. $1 million tax-free to you in your hand if we set it up properly. And you will have $1 million in your hand in 4 years to help pay for offsetting expenses for health care, taking care of if we need to bring someone into the home, if you need to go into a facility, if you have Alzheimer's, you need to go to a mental health unit. You might want to not price those out. They'll scare you, but I'll tell you, a mental health unit for Alzheimer's today, even in Eastern Carolina, is about $10,000 to $14,000 a month, depending on where you're at and to the extent of what the kind of services they're giving you. Now, keep this in mind as well. Let's just say it's $10,000 a month for sake of math. You've got to take out $120,000 a year from your retirement plan because that's where the money's going to come to pay for that nursing home facility. $120,000 out of that $1 million account. If the account's lost money in the market, it may not be the million anymore. If you're spending money in retirement to live on, it's not going to be the million anymore. If inflation kicks in, it's not going to be the million anymore. But taxes continue to rise, and that's the problem. The taxes have to rise because inflation raises the interest rates on the government debt, which continues to rise every day. So we're at $34 trillion right now. Last month, we were at $33 trillion. That's $1 trillion in 1 month. Where it used to take 18 years to hit up to $1 trillion. Now we do it in a month, which is not fair to you and I, that the taxpayer. Then when you see all the waste out there of the money that's leaving us to pay for other things that, we don't really want to pay for, that adds insult to injury, and that adds to our tax burden as well. So that's number one. But let's take the $1 million IRA that you've got that's 100% taxable. Let's peel off about 2% of that a year, or 2.5% a year. Let's peel off $25,000 at your age 65 and give it to the insurance company and ask them to turn that into $1 million of tax-free money if you die along the way. Because remember, if you die along the way and you leave your spouse and family $1 million in the IRA, you're not really leaving them $1 million. You're leaving them about $500,000 because you got to pay taxes on the other half. If you're pulling money out to pay for long-term care or for at-home health care services, you got to pay taxes on that. So you're spending the $120,000 a year. You might have to take out $170,000 a year to come up with the $120,000. And you can see at $150,000 to $170,000 a year, you're running that $1 million down at rapid speeds, much faster than you ever thought you might. And all of a sudden now, you don't have a lot of wiggle room, and you could be broke before the time comes, before you die or before the mama dies. So That's the problem we have to face. So we need a plan for long-term care. How about if you don't have that plan and something happens, you got to spend your own money? You could be broke and you could be on Medicaid, even retiring with $1 million in your IRA. I've seen this happen so many times. You don't understand it until you've been there. It's like being in a war zone. You can't describe it from watching the videos. When you're there and you come back home, you know where you just came from. It's nasty. When you're hearing the bombings all day and you're seeing people slaughtered and seeing the destruction, you can see it on TV, but it's not the same. When you're in present, it's there. The same thing with spending the money, watching the money dissipate, and watching the grimaces on the face that you need to take care of because you can't give them the right at-home care on your own. You need to bring someone else who's professional, either in from the outside, to take care of the cost. That all costs money. And that money, ladies and gentlemen, has to come from somewhere. Let's let the insurance company come up with the money. Let's let them create the money that wasn't there before. When you're spending your retirement money, you're spending the money that you've earned over a 40-year period and saved so hard and sacrificed so many times to get that $1 million in your retirement plan. The insurance company can make that money for you instantly with a drop of ink and a piece of paper. You can pay one premium and die the next day, and the insurance company has to pay $1 million tax-free to you. Doesn't seem fair? Well, that's the deal that they make. It's a contractual obligation on their part. They also have to pay the $1 million if you can't do 2 or 6 of your daily activities without dying. You become your own beneficiary of that life insurance plan. And the best part of all is if you live 20 years and you don't die and you don't have a 2 or 6 scenario where you have to collect the money from the insurance company up front, the life insurance company will refund to you 100% of all those premiums you paid in over that 20-year period, which happens to be $25,000 a year times 20, and that comes out to $500,000 of premium over that 20-year period. They'll give you back 100% of your money back, guaranteed, 20 years down the road. By contract, guaranteed contracts work that way. You don't want indexed contracts. You want guaranteed contracts. That's the big difference between our master plan and the other plans that might look like it. You might pay a little less money, but you don't have the plan. You don't have the same plan. So you got to have the plan that pays you back if you don't die and you don't become disabled and you want your money back to help supplement your retirement. But I can tell you this, if you're 65 and nothing's happened in 20 years, I wouldn't cash out in 20 years because you're not that far away from a 2 or 6 scenario at age 85. Come on, things are going to be changing pretty rapidly from that day on, most likely, or if maybe they started changing already. And once you qualify, the life insurance then kicks in. That's the master's plan. And along the way, if you have money that you need, the plan also builds up cash value that you can borrow against the plan, and that money is yours as well, and you never have to pay it back. The death benefit pays it back if something happens to you along the way. So it's a win-win-win situation for you, and it's a plan that you can't live without, and it's part of your retirement plan, and we can pay for it all with the plans that we create for you and do that with our special plans that we set it down to do for you. And in some cases, 20 minutes is all it takes to get it done. You know, Jeffrey, I read something once which always stayed in the back of my mind, and that is this. The widow is the true determinant of how good of a plan you left behind with your planner. Think about that. The widow determines how good that plan was that your planner designed for you. I can tell you this. We design plans where the widow would be very happy to have to live for the rest of her life in once you have passed. There aren't many advisors that walk away with that feeling. They take care of themselves and not the family. We take care of the family, and we make sure that we take care of the family first in our fiduciary capacity as well. You have to make sure that things are in order A to Z, and that we work very carefully with your advisors at the same time. Number to call, 252-249-0100. We're going to close out on a couple of quick housekeeping things as well. You know, we have an extensive amount of knowledge with our coaches. One of our coaches is Dr. Larry Kotlikoff. Dr. Kotlikoff is a specialist in Social Security. And what does Dr. Larry do for us? Well, he helps maximize your Social Security. We don't talk about this enough. But when we build your retirement plan income portion, we start with the basic foundation. The basic foundation is your Social Security. You've paid in it your entire working career in most cases. 98% of people have money paid in to Social Security. So they're going to collect Social Security by law when they're old enough, starting at 62, all the way to 70 until they die. I mean, that's how it works. That's Social Security. We want to maximize that benefit to you. You just don't turn it on at 62. We have strategies that may play off of your spouse if they're collecting already. If there's a change or a difference of ages that are wide enough, we can use that to your advantage as well. If you're close in age, we use that to your advantage. There's a lot of options in there. But Dr. Kotlikoff designed the software that we use to help you to maximize your Social Security. And interestingly, we don't talk about this enough. The difference between choosing Social Security at the right time versus the incorrect time could be as much as $200,000 in your pocket. Think about it. $200,000 in your pocket can be the difference between Social Security being at the right time versus the not right time. It's a big number. It's a big difference. It's a big change. Don't be caught short in that area. We will maximize your Social Security for you. Secondly, we take your pension plan if you have one, and we maximize that out. And we make sure that the beneficiaries on your pension plan are bulletproof. We want to make sure that there's a continuation of benefit in the event that you, the breadwinner, and the owner of that particular pension plan might die first. If there's a survivorship benefit and your wife is healthy, we want to make sure that she's in on the plan as well to collect income just in case you pass first. And then lastly, we take your IRA money, your 401k money, all the savings you've done outside of those plans and inside the 401k and IRA, and we help you maximize that out to provide lifetime income that you can't outlive, and along with the home health care doubler in the event that you can't do 2 of 6 of your daily activities, we can double your lifetime income up to 5 years on the doubler, and then it goes back to the lifetime income for the rest of both your lives. You think about that. We manage money for about 750 families. We have probably 60 families right now collecting the home health care doubler benefit. Ask any one of them if that's been helpful. They all will tell you they probably wouldn't be as comfortable in retirement without it. And shouldn't you have that too? Especially when there's no cost to add it to your present retirement plan. And we add that as part of the master plan. So let us review your master plan. Let us build you a bulletproof plan that you can't outlive. And let us also give you the plan that works all the time, 24/7, when you're sleeping, when you're eating, when you're drinking, when you're driving, when you're traveling. It doesn't really matter. The plan's always working and always working for you to keep your money safer. That's number one. If we can't keep your money safe, we're not doing our job. So that's the key. We have to keep it safe, and we have to be sure that it's all in your best interest at all times. We put it all together, the master plan. And the cool thing is you can't lose a dime. You cannot lose a dime if the market falls with our plan. You won't lose a nickel, a dime, a penny, nothing, because you need to have that in your plan so that you protect what we got, and that's the whole key to the whole enchilada. So the number to call, 252-249-0100. Jeffrey, I think we covered a lot of groundwork today in this October show, and I hope that you'll listen in again next week for continuation of the Mastering Your Money program. We always close our show with a prayer, and today is no different. Heavenly Father, focus on our strengths, not our weaknesses. Focus on our character, not our reputations. Focus on our blessings, not our misfortunes. Keep us safe, Heavenly Father. Keep our children safe in this time of war. Keep the people in the war zone in Israel and Gaza and everywhere else that has to be done to do the right thing. And, of course, the other wars going on around the world as well. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I'm Gary Master-Donato, along with my co-host Jeffrey Shea. Thank you, sir.
It is always a pleasure, Gary.
And along with our other members of our team, we have Trina, we have Tricia, we have Christina, we have Heather, we have Eric, of course, our key IT professional, and all the other people on our team that help the Masters, and all of our coaches, of course. We thank all of you as well. We're going to see you all again next time right here live on the Mastering Your Money Show. A pleasure in our 42nd year in business. 40 years on the Mastering Your Money Show. Continue on. We're coming back again next time right here on the Mastering Your Money Show.
No statements made during the Mastering Your Money Show shall constitute tax, legal, or accounting advice. You should consult your own legal or tax professional on your individual information. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. No investment strategy, including asset allocation or diversification, guarantees a profit or the avoidance of loss.